Revenge films.
My name is Anna. It's been a year since I got married to my husband, but something has been bothering me recently. My mother-in-law was ignoring me. It was just a 20-minute drive to my husband's parents' house, and my father-in-law would sometimes call us to invite us over for dinner. So my husband and I would visit them, but my mother-in-law would ignore me when my husband and father-in-law were away. Can I serve these? I was sure she could hear me, but she pretends like she doesn't hear me and ignores me. When the four of us are talking, she would bring up things that I wouldn't understand and cut off my conversation. I had no idea why she was treating me this way, and I was sad to see that she hated me. But I couldn't ask my father-in-law for help, and I was also scared to tell my husband about it, worried that it might make it worse. But my father-in-law, who doesn't know anything, would invite us over often, and my husband would visit whenever he did. I was always upset during that time because I would always be ignored. One day my father-in-law invited us over as always, and my husband and I were both invited for a meal. But because my husband received a call from his colleagues who were working till late that they were encountering trouble, so they asked him for help. Then my husband said,
"I'll head to my parents after things calm down, so you go first."
That was what he said. I honestly didn't want to go because my father-in-law wouldn't be home at this time yet. And it was clear that I would be alone with his mother. I really didn't want to go, but my husband went to his office hurriedly, so in the end, I had to go alone. Good evening. When I entered the house alone, my mother-in-law clearly showed dislike on her face and went inside. I went inside too as I sighed, but I couldn't just relax on my own while my mother-in-law was cooking, so I asked her if there was anything I could do to help, but she obviously ignored me. I couldn't just stand there doing nothing, so I thought I'd do the dishes. But then she suddenly pushed my body. My mother-in-law was pretty bulky, so I lost balance and hit my body on the table, and I bumped my legs with great force, but she ignored me and started cooking again. At the same time, my father-in-law came home, and I wasn't able to say anything to her. But it was now clear that she was doing these things on purpose. Then my husband joined us, and she was ignoring me in a smooth manner so that they wouldn't realize. But things were going too far, so I decided to talk to my husband about it after we went home.
"What do you want to talk about? What's wrong?"
My husband, who had no idea, said to me, so I showed him the leg I hurt today.
"What's going on with your leg? It's swollen."
Actually, your mother did this to me. My husband, who heard me reveal the truth, looked very surprised, but he listened to my story carefully. I told him how I'd been ignored by her all this time and that she pushed me hard today, which led to my leg injury. But that she never apologized to me nor showed any signs of worry. My husband thought I was involved in my conversation, but he seems to finally realize how less the interactions with his mother were. He said he wanted to talk to her right away, but I knew she wouldn't approve so easily. My husband said he would also ask his dad to warn her, but she was his wife after all, and I thought he might not believe my story. So I suggested to have him see how she really treats me with his own eyes. My husband disagreed because I'd have to go through bad experiences again, but I insisted that it was the best option to reveal the truth in front of everyone. My husband told his father about it a few days later. As I thought, he seemed surprised and confused at the same time, so he invited my husband and I over as usual to have dinner with them. My mother-in-law, who had no idea, was ignoring me as usual, unaware that my father-in-law and my husband were watching us. When I asked her like I always do, "Do you mind if I do the dishes?" Where's the plastic wrap?" My mother-in-law continued to ignore me no matter what I said. After she finished cooking and we got to the table, she was talking about things I didn't know about, such as when the three of them went on trips together. And the moment she started bringing that up, my husband opened his mouth.
"I think there are different things to talk about, Mom. Mom, you ignored Anna all day. No, you've been ignoring her for a while now. Both Dad and I have been watching you today, but you really kept on ignoring her. What is going on?"
When my mother-in-law heard that, she made a shocked expression. Her husband continued.
"Yes, I couldn't believe it at first, but you were actually ignoring her, even when she talked to you. I also heard that you pushed her and hurt her the other day."
When he said that, she glared at me with a frightening expression. My husband got even angrier seeing her face.
"How dare you glare at her like that? You better explain yourself."
When he said that, she said as she trembled, I hated how she thinks like she's better than me just because everyone takes good care of her. I know she's just pretending to be good. You should have divorced her long ago. It's because you didn't break up with her. What's wrong with just ignoring her?" She yelled, then she started explaining herself. Apparently, she didn't like how her neighbors and relatives kept on praising me, saying I was a great wife. From my perspective, I would obviously greet their neighbors whenever I visited them, and I've always known that my husband was close to his relatives, so I would say thanks whenever they gave us something, and never forgot to express my gratitude towards them. But she hated me for not only taking her son away from her, but also being adored by her relatives. What surprised me more was that she spread a random rumor about me cheating on my husband among her neighbors and relatives to make her son get a divorce with me. One of his relatives told my husband about it just in case, and when my husband heard that, he never took it seriously. But turns out his mother was the one who started it, but everyone who heard about the rumor said,
"There's no way a great wife like her would do that. Don't take the rumors seriously."
They gave my mother-in-law cold stares for spreading the rumor, and even when she tried to spread the rumor among the neighbors, they never took her seriously, saying it must be a misunderstanding and nothing went according to her plan. She thought people would find out if she bullied me in obvious ways, so she hoped that I would get a divorce after I get tired of her ignoring me. But because I didn't show any signs of that, she got irritated and pushed me the other day. She hoped that I would get injured some way, but she complained, saying that I was just pretending to be a good girl because I told my husband and his father about everything. My husband got furious, and her husband also yelled at her. In the end, my husband took me home that day, but after we got home, he apologized on his knees about his mother. He also said I would never have to visit them again, and his father also apologized to me, and he told me that he'll explain to everyone the story of me cheating on my husband was just what his wife made up. Thanks to that, my mother-in-law was being ignored by her relatives now, and to the neighbors, my father-in-law also explained that it was all made up by his wife, and proved that I wasn't the type of person to do that. I thought she was just ignoring me. But I was shocked to find out that she was spreading the rumor about me cheating on my husband behind my back. After this incident, my husband told me that he'll cut relations with his mother, and his father also agreed. I'm honestly relieved that I could cut relations with her. After that, his relatives also cheered me up, saying I had to go through a hard time, but I heard that my husband's parents are going through a divorce. His mother doesn't regret anything she did, and she never even bothered to apologize to me. Seeing her attitude, his father insisted that they get a divorce, saying he was tired of her. My mother-in-law lives as a housewife, depending on her husband financially. So if he divorces her, she'll end up struggling financially in no time. I have no right to butt into their business, but I think she'll be punished soon enough.
How was today's video? If you enjoyed it, please subscribe, like, and leave a comment. Stay tuned for more.